This is Fit Talk. I'm CJ, and I'm here with Steve Adams, the owner of Crossfit Kaiju, and we're here with the goal of kind of easing you guys into the world of CrossFit. I know a lot of people are intimidated by it. Look at this guy. Look at this? Why wouldn't you be intimidated by this? But it's nothing here. Steve is gonna kind of answer some questions for us to kind of help you guys out and to tell you why you should be trying CrossFit. So, Steve, first of all,
thanks for having me,
man.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Honestly, man, your name, man, kind of reminds me of like some old NWO with the wrestling.
Scott Hall,
Steve Nash, and then those. Oh, what is it? Kevin Nash. Or, those wrestler names. And then when you look at it, you look like one of those guys. So tell me about your background. What did you do before CrossFit? Or what actually, in the fitness field?
Sure.
What were you doing before this?
In the fitness field, so actually my background, strangely enough, is I started out playing sports in high school, lifting weights, kind of took refuge in the weight room about around 15 years old and just got into it really a lot. And most of it was like weight training outside of like playing football and running track just to get a little bit more endurance, stamina, things like that. Okay. Did a bit of club boxing in college, continued on with the weightlifting. Quite honestly, after I got out of college, I stuck with the weightlifting, but not near as often. My programming wasn't quite up to par, and I was doing a lot of things on my own, and I wasn't the best at it at that time. Somewhere around the age of 30, I realized that my metabolism was slowing down, and just doing the weight training wasn't cutting it. So I actually started looking around for different things, and strangely enough, I came across the movie 300 back then. And when I started researching how those guys got that big, one of the things that kept coming up was CrossFit. And this was back in, 2007, 8, kind of around then. And so I started looking it up. And at the time, there was 2 CrossFits in Charlotte. And so I looked them up and went to one, tried out a workout, and was loved day one. Because I realized, even though I thought I was in good shape, how out of shape I was. And it was a perfect combination for me of the cardio, endurance, strength, stamina, all that kind of stuff, and kind of suckered me into it. So super excited about it, started getting into it, started pushing through, and 7.5 years later, here I am. And so over the years of coaching, competing with CrossFit, things like that, I was actually in the corporate world. I had done a lot after grad school as far as like consulting, things like that.
I saw you had an MBA in
I have an
Harvard?
MBA from Harvard, actually.
Harvard?
I thought I was going to be a consultant, and I was for a long time, and did that, had fun with it, but got tired of the politics and the games and all that kind of stuff, and realized that I love going to the gym and coaching every night, because I started doing that at different gyms and along those lines. So one of those things where I was like, why am I messing around with this? Let me kind of do the if you build it, they will come thing. Right. And came here, found this location, started from scratch, had no members, put the good equipment in, put some good programming together, and people started coming. And we have an awesome gym. I mean, I can't be happier with the coaches that I have, the members that I have. We have a lot of fun in class. Every day is just amazing. I mean, it really is fun. I look forward to coming to work. It's not like work at all, and get to have a lot of fun with it. So
that's what you want. That's
my background. I've got certifications in CrossFit, all that kind of stuff. But a lot of it's just been learned and taking good ideas from other people that have been through it.
Right. So how long have you been here?
How long have I been here? About 1.5 years now.
Okay.
We opened up in January of 2014. We're at about, with the coaches and everybody, we're at about 135 members right now, slowly building up and continuing up. We'll probably have a capacity about 200, 225 here, but for 1.5 years, I'm pretty happy with where we've been. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So the name, Kaiju, where does that come from?
Kaiju, so what it means is in Japanese, it means giant beast.
Okay.
And strangely enough, there's so many CrossFits now around the world. There's like 10,000 affiliates around the world. I think maybe even 11,000 now. And so when I started looking for a name, I wanted something unique other than CrossFit Matthews and things like that. The unfortunate thing is, because there is 11,000 affiliates out there now, like every unique kind of fun name has been taken. So I had submitted a bunch of different names that were all too close or ones that gyms hadn't taken. I ended up watching a movie called Pacific Rim that some people out there may have seen. It came out about 2 years ago, and in one of the movie they call the gigantic kind of Godzilla monsters Kaiju, which means gigantic beast in Japanese. So
that's interesting.
Seems like a fun name. Everybody kind of latches onto it. Everybody always asks about it. So yeah, and it kind of fits and plays fun into the t-shirts and stuff like that too.
Yeah. Nice t-shirts, by the way.
Thanks.
So 6,000 square feet?
6,000 square feet altogether, about 5,000 workout space. We've got men and women's bathrooms with 2 showers in each, little kitchenette area. But yeah, more than enough space for what we do here. Yeah.
Okay. Now, what's the average size of a box, a CrossFit box?
Average size is probably going to be a little bit smaller than this, from what I've seen out there. A lot of places have maybe around 65, 75, 100 members at most, and in some cases, some bigger places have more. Most CrossFit boxes you come across are maybe going to be around 2,000 to 4,000 square feet most of the time. Some are much bigger, some are much smaller, but I would say, in my experience, that's around the average of what you're going to find. Yeah.
Okay. So besides the space and the size and the amount of members, capacity, what else is going to separate CrossFit Kaiju from the other ones?
Oh, what separates? So I'll tell you what. I mean, it's my coaches and the programming and people here. I mean, like I tell people all the time, I've had tons of people come through the door who have gotten certifications and are like, hey, can I be a coach here, or do you need coaches? And I'm the first to say certifications aren't the thing that makes somebody a great coach. Does it help? Yeah, sure. It might make sure that their training's all the way through. But I have fantastic coaches that, some have all the certifications, some don't. But the big thing I need to find is someone who can build rapport with that person who's just trying to come in here and starting out, never lifted a weight, never done a body weight movement ever a day in their life, and can talk to that person, yet can talk to the same guy that rolls to the door, or girl that rolls to the door and wants to compete in CrossFit, and they've been doing it for 2 to 3, 4 years and needs to be able to learn how to do gymnastics, muscle ups, and things like that. Having people like that, and the ones that walk the talk and actually, do what they are preaching, that's the hard ones to find. And once I find those and know that they're capable and can demonstrate that to me, those are the ones. And universally, like most people say, you've got awesome coaches, you've got, the facility's great, but I mean, I could have something with cement floors and hardly anything in it and still make that work with good coaches and good programming. So
yeah, I think that's for any fitness program.
Absolutely.
You can go anywhere and get the workouts.
Yeah.
It's about being able to connect with the trainer.
Absolutely.
And the fitness. That's what's going to separate.
Yep.
That's good, man. So talk about programming a little bit.
Okay.
You're talking about coaches connecting with newer people. What do you recommend? Do you have a program that specifically caters to newer people?
Yeah. So when a new person comes in, especially ones that have never done CrossFit before, we require that they go through what we call a foundations program. And I've been around a bunch of different foundations programs that different CrossFits do. And some CrossFits do weeks long of programming as far as around the foundations to get to learn the movements. Others do much smaller. And I'm more towards the side of much smaller. The reason being is that we go through movements in class as well every time. So what our foundations class consists of is around 3 to 4 hours of going through basic barbell movements, Olympic lifting, talking about nutrition, talking about expectations and how to be successful in class. One of the hours is also a one-on-one session where we talk about individualized nutrition. We also talk about, and it's 2 to 3 weeks after they start is that last hour, so we get to talk about what things are working for them, what things they're struggling with, and give them a little bit more personalized touch, one-on-one, for that kind of thing. Not to say that in class they don't get that personal touch, but in class it tends to be like, we're maybe dealing with 10 to 15 people in a class, so, moving through it a little bit quicker in that case. But in classes then, the idea behind the foundations is to get them familiar with movements, familiar with what they're going to be doing in class. In class then, when we go through a workout, and right before we get into it, the coach will demonstrate, talk about the movement and all that. The idea is that member can now see and be like, oh yeah, I remember going through that in foundation. Here's the basic pieces of it. Not to say they're going to be an expert in it, but it just takes practice and time. Oh yeah. So, yep.
Okay. Now I heard you talking about nutrition. Now, in doing my research about CrossFit, anybody, when you find that the paleo diet is more associated with CrossFit, is that something that you...
Yeah, we talk about the paleo diet. My philosophy around diet and nutrition is, one, eating clean...
Beer?
Yeah, beer. Well, that is part of my diet. I'm not going to lie. I'd be lying to you if I told you I was like a perfectly clean eater. Beer is part of my diet, and beer can be part of diets.
Right.
It's about balance and, finding, where it fits for you. So... For a lot of people, I do promote the paleo diet. I think that the gist behind it is really good. However, for CrossFitters, especially ones that work out hard here, I make adjustments to it. Like I'm not so much, one of those that's hey, against rice. I'll say stay away from breads and pastas, but you know what? Eat a little bit more of that rice. Eat sweet potatoes, eat mashed potatoes, eat regular potatoes, those kind of things, because getting those carbohydrates is, good for refueling after this. Oh, yeah, also, another thing is drinking milk. I'm a big proponent of that for people who, work out again hard and you're getting the protein and all that kind of stuff. And those are good ways to help manage appetite, manage calorie intake, and manage getting the nutritions that you need. Because a lot of times if you eat straight paleo, you're just eating a lot, and a lot of times that wears people down and they get tired of it and they kind of lose, the gusto to keep going with paleo. Outside of that, though, when I talk to people about it, we always ease into it. There may be some people in here who come have 4 or 5 sodas a day. There's another person that comes in here and just maybe eats too many potatoes every once in a while. So it's finding out what they're eating, having a little bit of a 2 to 3 day food journal, saying, hey, what are you eating? And then talking about, one, getting the quantity right, getting the calories around the right place, because a lot of times, sometimes people just eat the right things. They just eat too much of stuff. The second thing is balancing out macronutrients, making sure that their protein, fats, carbohydrates are balanced out, and just finding that those fats, proteins, and carbohydrates are actually good ones, not high glycemic carbohydrates, things like that. Staying away from the refined sugars, breads, pastas, things like that. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what are the goals? Most of my clients, I run a boot camp. Most of my clients come to me. They don't have any exercise experience.
Yep.
They don't like exercising, and they want to come in and lose weight.
Yep.
What are the goals of most of the people that come here?
Well, our goals are very similar, honestly, for a lot of people. I mean, it is different. I mean, it depends on the person coming in. So CrossFit is, at the end of the day, a general physical preparedness program, much like a boot camp is. Okay. The one difference between us and a boot camp most of the time is that we use barbells. I know a lot of boot camps will use like dumbbells and kettlebells and things like that. We use barbells, and we actually push the weight piece a little bit harder. We do Olympic lifting, things like that. It's not to say that we're going to have somebody who's coming in off the street and has never lifted a weight in a day in their life, and we're going to be like, all right, let's put on 155 pounds and go at it. Absolutely not. We ease people into it. We just know that building that strength, that tone up, is going to help build their metabolism up and actually help them manage their body weight as well. It also makes them prepared more for life, I mean, say you've got to jump out a window or something like that, or maybe you're in the military and you got physical preparedness tests coming up. Being able to jump up, pull yourself over, and then over through a window could be something, you never know. You may have to do. Again, it's a general physical preparedness, but in general as well, the stronger you are, the more easier everyday tasks is. I mean, I have people coming here and like, you know what? I realized the other day, they're like, I was walking upstairs and I wasn't breathing heavy at the end of it. Not only do they get that cardio endurance, but their legs are a little bit stronger, so they feel like they can do that as well. It's not to say that every day we're doing barbell stuff either. Some days, most days we do, but some days it's air squats, pull-ups, push-ups, those kind of things, sit-ups. It's a well-rounded program, and with the programming that we do here, we make sure it's balanced out pretty regularly. I'm not going to beat up people with using barbells every day. It's about giving some a little bit heavier one day, and the next day it's going to be a little bit more cardio endurance based. Some other days it's going to be a mix of all of it. So it's just kind of, playing around with it and making sure we're balancing everything out so everybody gets a good shake at everything.
Okay. So, what is the biggest challenges of most of your clients? Whether is it movement, nutrition, or is it getting here and actually participating in the work?
You just said it right now. Getting here. If we can get them in the door, they can do well. Most of the people just have busy lives, and I think that a lot of times they've gotten used to not managing their schedule well, and saying like, oh, I've only got 2 hours free in a day. Well, that's more than enough time to come in here, but it's just a matter of them wanting to do it, getting the drive, prioritizing, exactly. Right. So that's probably the biggest struggle, because once they get in here and they make it through, I mean, we tell them everything to do. They just have to give us a little bit of desire once they're in here. That's it. They just got to want it, So that's the hardest thing, is getting them to want to come in here and things like that. I mean, it's tough. This stuff ain't easy. So it's, as you know, same thing with the boot camp. I mean, getting them in there, I'm sure, is just as challenging sometimes.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick break. I appreciate you.
Sure.
When we come back, a few messages from our sponsors. When we come back, continue with Steve Adams, owner of CrossFit Kaiju. This is Fit Talk. I'm CJ. Cool. All right. Edit that out. We're back in. Welcome back. We're here with Steve Adams, owner of CrossFit Kaiju, here in Matthews, and some pretty interesting stuff. I like your energy, man, I must say.
I'm passionate about this stuff.
Passionate about it, it just flows out. It just flows out, and I like that. So what's your most popular class here?
Okay, so we have a couple of different classes. So we have the regular CrossFit class, which is an hour long each day. We also have an endurance class 2 days a week, which is we take away some of the barbell movements, longer cardio, Metcon kind of sessions, metabolic conditioning sessions. One of the ones that's become kind of popular, though, with a lot of the members is we have a gymnastics class, true gymnastics classes on Wednesday nights. 6 p.m. is like beginner class, 7 p.m. is a little bit more advanced. And what it is trying to learn how to manage more of your core, keeping the hollow body position for things things like pull-ups or handstand push-ups, things like that, and learning how to get inverted, learning how to keep balance and things like that on top of different objects and stuff like that. So we actually have a gymnastics coach from here in town that comes in and teaches it, and people love it just because it's all these things that you probably thought as an adult you'd never be able to do, and people come in here and get a chance to try it out and realize it's stuff that they can do even at a later age and stuff. So
how many days a week is that?
The gymnastics class right now is fairly new, and it's just one night a week right now. We're probably going to look at expanding it out to 2 nights a week, but right now it's one night a week, and yeah, it's been fun. A lot of people get into it and have fun, and most people who come in and do it will come in and do a regular CrossFit class and stick around for the gymnastics class as well, because it's not so much a workout, it's more skills and drills kind of thing.
Yeah. So now we know a lot of people tend to, now people come to my boot camp because it's not CrossFit, and I say why not, you know, try it out, at least try it out. And they say it's too competitive and the intensity of it, they're kind of scared of it.
Sure.
So what do you say to those people who kind of steer clear of the whole
Well,
CrossFit?
one of the, I mean, if those are the two reasons that they're steering clear of it, which I've heard before as well, the competitiveness, I mean, it's there. I mean, and some people are competitive and that's what they like. However, it's not something that the coaches or myself push, you know. For new people, absolutely, one of the first things I tell them when they come in here, I'm like, I don't care how fast you move, I don't care how much weight you do. The first thing and the only thing we care about right now is technique and form, making sure that you can do the movements, demonstrate them properly. As you feel comfortable with them, we move up, you know, in both the intensity and the weight, you know, when we're doing strength movements. So that competitiveness is there during workouts, but I'll tell you what, it's not like one of those things where once people are in a workout that people are pushing each other out of the way or anything like that, or someone else is talking down to them. Absolutely not. I mean, we have people that have been doing this 2, 3, 5 years alongside the person that's been doing it a week. Are they doing the exact same workout? No, but they're doing similar movements. They're doing it at their pace, and they're going to get done with the workout about the same time, and that's the design of it. So the competitiveness, while it's there, it's not like every day and they feel like they have to keep up with everybody. At least I try to make sure that that doesn't happen here, and I feel like most of the people that are here are kind of surprised that it isn't as competitive as they've heard it to be. The other piece, as far as what did you say, the competitiveness and intensity. So the intensity piece, there is intensity, but like I said, it's one of those things where, again, it's as you can do it. I mean, the first couple of weeks while people in here, I mean, their body kind of takes a shock because it's like, whoa, I'm not used to doing this thing. So they may get a little lightheaded and woozy, and I'm the first one to say, sit down, get some water, chill out, you're done for the day. You know,
I got that too, by the way. Almost died in here after the Fran workout. Yeah. And you know, that's exactly right, and that's like exactly what I told you. I'm like, chill out, relax. I mean, take your time with it. Do it as fast as you can. Now, believe it or not, I mean, that happens for about the first 2 to 3 weeks, you know, where it gets slowly better and better. Before the, I mean, by the end of 3 weeks comes around, I'll even mention to them, like, remember 2 weeks ago when you were dying doing half of this? And people are like, whoa, you're right, yeah. So it just slowly builds up, and it kind of sneaks up on you, and how quickly you start to build that cardio, respiratory endurance, stamina, you know, all that kind of stuff, along with the strength and all those other things. Good. Awesome. Cool. Tell me a little bit about you. What's your favorite workout or exercise?
What's my favorite workout or exercise? I'm kind of partial to cleans, actually. It's one of the Olympic lifting movements, bringing weight from the floor, catching at what they call a front rack position here. I don't know, I like that for some reason. I'm not a big fan of the snatch just because my overhead mobility is not what it is because I'm a bigger guy, and it's one of those things I constantly work on, but that notch slowly moves. So doing cleans, heavier squats are fun, but at the same time, I like the conditioning workouts where it's got a good balance of like some lighter weight, medium weight, and some body weight movements like pull-ups and things like that. You know, having that balance, I think, is the coolest thing for me. You know, back in the day, I was the one that just could lift weights and stuff. Could I run a mile? Absolutely not. But now that I'm to this point where I can lift weights and still run a mile in about 6.5 minutes, that is awesome to me. You know, being able to have that balance. And really, at my age, I mean, it's fun for me. I get to, you know, compete with some of these younger guys that come in here and, like, you know, just go head to head and have a friendly fun. And, you know, like I tell them every time, either way I win. Because if I lose in the workout, you lost to a 38-year-old guy. If I win, I win, you know. So it's one of those things that makes it fun for me just to see where I'm at physically. And it makes me feel good to, like, think that, you know, out of the population of the world, even, like, the people that are in here, we're, like, the top 1% of fitness in here, you know. I mean, even anybody doing anything most of the time like this is doing that kind of thing. And to think, like, you know, I'm in better shape than most of the country here, which is sad at one point, but also makes me feel good in another point because it makes me feel somewhat accomplished around that kind of aspect.
Okay.
So
what's the workout or exercise that when they see it on the board, they see the workout of the day, that everybody just cringes up?
Well, Fran is one of them. You
Fran,
just mentioned
really?
it. Yeah, Fran is one of them just because it's thrusters and pull-ups. So thrusters where you're squatting all the way down, pushing weight above your head, and doing pull-ups. The hard part about Fran is the intensity part of it, right? So it's intended to be a short workout. When some people come in and see it, they're like, okay, I'm going to mosey through it, and which is fine, you know, depending on their skill set and where they're at. It may be a 5-minute workout for somebody, maybe a 10-minute workout for another person. But for people who are hard chargers, that workout's about a 2.5 to 3-minute workout. And it's one that when you go hard, I mean, it's crazy to say that in 2.5, 3 minutes, it kicks the crap out of you. I mean, you are out of breath. I mean, it's awful. On the same aspect, there's other workouts out there, like one that's popular in CrossFit is called Murph. It's a mile run. Any combination of 300 air squats, 200 push-ups, 100 pull-ups, and then run another mile. And if you did it completely as prescribed, you're wearing a 20-pound weight vest as a guy throughout the entire workout. So that one there is like a 45-minute workout, really testing your endurance and things like that. Now, for most of our programming in here, you know, you've got those two wide ranges there, but most of our workouts in here are somewhere from between 10 to 20 minutes, you know. We try to make that balance down, and, you know, we'll do things where it's more anaerobic, where it's like a 2 to 3 minute kind of burst, taking a rest for 2 minutes, and then another 2 to 3 minute burst. Other ones are more aerobic, where they're a little longer, 20-minute workouts where you're just working the entire time. You know, the hard part is, you know, being good at both of those, and those short ones are just as deadly as those ones that are 20 minutes and 30 minutes long. So,
okay, what's the average length of a session? Like
our classes are an hour,
okay.
And usually how that's broken out is we have about 10 to 15 minutes of a warm-up. The coach takes everybody through it, make sure they're doing those movements right. The idea behind it is to get the blood flowing, get some flexibility and mobility in, so they're ready for not only the strength piece, but also the conditioning workout. Once we get done with the warm-up, we usually have about a 20-minute strength piece. It could be things like strict body weight movements. It could be things like sets of back squats, deadlifts, cleans, snatches, things like that. Something with a barbell. After about 15, 20 minutes of that, which again, coaches monitor and make sure everybody's using the proper form, helping them suggest on weight, things like that. We have what we call our Metcon, metabolic conditioning piece. That's more of like what most people consider cardio. It could be any pieces of weightlifting. It could be running, rowing, body weight movements, kettlebells, medicine balls, all kinds of different things. And it's usually, usually around 2 to 3 movements, usually couplets or triplets we call them. Sometimes it's more movements than that. But like I said, depending on what the structure of it is, it could be 12 minutes, as many rounds as possible of some things, or it could be 2 to 3 rounds or 5 rounds of 2 or 3 different movements. There's all kinds of different structures to the programming to kind of make it interesting and fun and, you know, always fresh and new, but always going after that same goal, building up anaerobic and aerobic conditioning. So.
Okay. One question. What's something Steve listens to when you're working out, when you're in here getting jacked?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to listen to?
What's my favorite listen? I listen to techno, man, believe it or not. When I'm getting jammed up, that stuff has that fast beat, especially when I'm doing the conditioning workouts, it just keeps me rolling. Strangely enough, when I'm lifting and just lifting heavy, sometimes I just listen to country just because it's different. After all day of listening to heavy rock, sometimes it's old school rap. It just depends. But usually during the conditioning workouts, techno, man. I'm blasting that stuff to keep me like moving at a great pace. So.
Okay. Good. So yeah. So tell everybody how they can get in contact with you. Best way to see you, social media, all that stuff.
Social media. So we're on Facebook, CrossFit Kaiju. Simply look that up. And we're also on Twitter, CrossFit Kaiju there as well. And email address, steve@crossfitkaiju.com is my email address. Or also you can call or text 704-816-0360. Many, many ways to get a hold of us. Again, if all else fails, go to Google, type in CrossFit Kaiju. Multiple ways will come up for you to contact us. We'd love to hear from you.
Okay. Any introductory pricing or?
Introductory pricing, everybody can always come in for a free couple classes. For those of you that come in and mention this interview, you can have a whole week free. Come in and try it out, and we'll also give you 50% off a foundations class. For anybody that's listening to this, just come in and mention that CJ told me about CrossFit Kaiju, and we'll hook you up with that kind of deal. And would love to have you in to try it out.
Awesome.
So.
We're going to go through a quick workout.
Sure, let's do it.
Hopefully I don't nearly die this time. And, hey, man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we'll go through it. Sounds good, man.